All right, meeting of the Scituate Board of Health, Monday, August 15th, Selectmen Chambers, Town Hall, 6 PM. I will take a motion to open the meeting and accept the agenda.
Motion to open the meeting for Monday, August 15th, and accept the agenda.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. First thing up, scheduled items, discuss vote, Title V variance request, 362 to 366 Gannett Road in North Scituate. And I'm guessing that's you, sir?
That's me.
All right, so if you could just state your name and address for the record, so everybody can hear.
Yes, Harvey Gates. I live at 28 Long Meadow Road in Scituate, and I'm here regarding Scituate Realty Trust that owns the property.
Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on and why you're requesting variance? I did read this over the weekend, but let's go through the next case.
So, if you're familiar with the property, and I'm going to give you guys a
Thank you.
have an extra one.
This is the property with Stillwater, that is correct?
Correct. So the property is served by a very small leaching field and septic system in front of the reading store. Everything's about everything. Right, exactly. And we did do an emergency repair on that a little more than 2 years ago.
For what? What was
It had caved in, and Greg Morse designed it. That's page 11 on there. And we were able to put in a new tank, a 2,000-gallon tank. So the Title V, I unfortunately know much more than I really care to now. But Title V does require that when a business property changes its use, it needs a Title V. So I talked to Pete Spencer, who has done the septic tank and he does the pumping. And his feeling was that there was virtually no chance that it would pass Title V. And I think you can see by the size of it, and the water level around that area, probably, he's familiar with the general North Scituate area. He's probably familiar with all of Scituate, but at any rate, so the thought was look to how we could get a variance for this. And so the two...
And I asked you a question, so the Scituate Realty Trust is selling it to...
No, we're not selling it. No, there's no sale. We own the buildings, and that includes the food store and...
Right, so why do they need a
Because it would be a change of use.
A change of use.
So-
It's not a sale. So the wine store is going to leave. And she's actually going to go across the street. I don't know if that's been fully done yet, or it's subject, or...
That's not us anymore.
Well, it will be, because it's a change
Yep,
of use.
it's a separate matter.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
and they're going through the process.
Okay, but we're making the assumption that she is leaving here. And we found another tenant, a retail tenant, who has a place in Marshfield, and she actually wanted to open a second one. The wine shop was on one side, and a small lawyer's office was on the other side. I don't know if you're familiar with the building. As you face the front of it, the right side is Stillwater's, and she actually goes straight down and around the back of it, and that's shown on number...
Is that where there's like another building before you go up Monaco Lincoln?
Well, this is, so there's a reading store, a little reading store, that's
That's
separate.
set back.
Right, that's set back. This is all one building, and if you look at number 9, or 10 probably is the better one. Stillwater is now using about 2/3 of the building, and that left vacant area where there's nothing showing had been a lawyer's office for 25 years, maybe more. It's a change of use from office space to retail space. It is a change of use. You cannot deny it.
Harvey, doesn't the septic system also serve two multi-bedroom units,
It does.
apartment building?
It does. It
apartments?
serves the,
Which only have one tenant each, correct?
correct, one tenant in each of the two second and third floor. And it also serves the reading floor. It serves.
How often is it pumped?
Once a year. And Pete just did it, and he said it was amazing, that it was in good shape. Believe it or not, and I know it's not part of the process, but the whole two buildings only use 5,000 gallons of water, which is not so bad for considering. In any case, we can't rent it as an office space. There's tons of office space in North Scituate. And actually, there's tons vacant. And our feeling is that it's not an abuse of the system. Actually, the design flow, I'm probably using wrong words, but the design flow recommended for office space is actually higher than for retail space. So we're really moving down the use rather than up.
So this new tenant wants to take out, use the whole floor.
Right. And even if she doesn't, that's still in negotiation. Even if she doesn't, we would probably then further try to rent that as retail space.
Okay.
So, can I ask a couple questions? So Harvey, you have no idea what the system's design flow was, correct? The original system,
No.
what it was designed to support? Okay, and your two-bedroom apartments each have...
No. One is a two-bedroom apartment, one is a one-bedroom.
Okay, so you have 3 bedrooms, which if Title V design flow is correct, it would estimate 330 gallons per day. So if your 2 apartment buildings were leased at their maximum capacity, we're talking 330 gallons per day as opposed to the 2 single tenants that you currently have. So bear that in mind when you're talking about design flow.
Right.
You have very minimal usage currently for your apartment space, and that it could increase at any time if you have a change in your tenants and the total number of people.
Let me ask you this, how many employees does Stillwater have?
Stillwater basically runs with one. She might occasionally have 2 during holiday season or something like
And
that.
this new clothing retail
This
store?
new clothing retailer, she says, is only going to have 1, except for, again, holiday time, she might go to 2. The lawyer's office, incidentally, it's only 575 square feet. They have 2, because there was a lawyer and a paralegal, or an assistant, essentially.
Okay.
So, in our view, we think that we're going to be impacting the sewer system less, not even equal.
Which really has, design flow really has no bearing on the requirement for the Title V inspection. The inspection requirement under Title V is to confirm that the system is operating, that it currently protects health and safety. And you yourself just said that if in fact you had to do a Title V inspection, it would probably not pass. So I personally have very grave concerns that bypassing a Title V inspection would bypass an understanding that a system would fail to protect health and safety.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I kind of agree with you, yes, the usage might be less, but requesting the variance before the inspection, so if you, am I saying correctly that putting the horse before the cart in this instance, should it be inspected for XYZ and then come before the variance?
So what he's requesting is that he not have to conduct a Title V inspection at all. That the Stillwaters can leave and the lawyer's office can leave. So we go from retail, Stillwaters, and office space, the lawyer, to retail space. So it's the change of the lawyer's space that really dictates the need for a Title V inspection.
So, I don't know, I am in the thought that spending money is probably a good thing to get it inspected, and then come, are you, well, let me ask you this,
Let's just, okay, let's turn it around. Let's say we had it inspected and it failed.
which you think you might?
I know it well.
Okay.
So you have a system that you know does not protect health and safety right now, or the environment,
Well, I wouldn't say that, I would say it doesn't pass Title V.
which means by default, a system in failure fails to protect the public health and the environment.
So it's the best that we can do, given that we don't have sewerage in North Situate.
So,
Can I just go back with one other thing? So before I don't know how long you've seen buildings in North Situate.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but before there was a reading store there, there was a beauty parlor. It had 3 bays. And so what you're telling me is that when she left, and we rented it to a reading store, we would have been in the same situation because it's a change of use.
Yes. If that was the way that, if it went through the proper channels, then yes.
Well,
Did it go through the proper channels and did it fail?
no, it was never, no one ever asked.
So what you're telling me is 2 wrongs is gonna make it right?
No. I mean, no. What I was saying is, in that case, you were going from a very large user of water and soaps and all kinds of stuff to someone who.
See, like I said, I'm gonna go on the limb here. I probably tend to agree with you, the usage might be a little bit less, unless you get another 10 upstairs in the 2-bedroom apartment. I might even go on the limb and agree with you, because I'm gonna go and say that the clothing store probably gonna have less hours than the wine store does. And less hours than.
And she doesn't have the sinks. And she doesn't have the sinks in there.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say that. But that being said, back to the 2 wrongs don't make a right thing, is that if we know that this self-admitted, and I don't know if Pete Spencer's, the last time he looked at it and done whatever he needs to do, self-admitted that if you think or you know that this septic system is gonna fail, then shouldn't that be the focus of this as opposed to trying to get a variance? Shouldn't we try and be fixing the problem so you don't have to go with it?
Well, there's only one way to fix the problem, and that's a tight tank.
And you want to know what tight tanks, if you go on the Hummer out there, they're kind of doesn't know.
You know,
So, and then it becomes a cost issue.
well, what it would become is a tear down issue. I mean, that's not your problem, but that's ours. I mean, honestly, we can't even, pay the taxes without being able to rent the building. And we can't afford that.
So if you indicate that your flow is extremely low at 200 gallons of, what's your
I got it.
typical quarterly water?
Here, I don't think I put it in the report because I didn't think it was relevant.
So I have your water records from 2014 at the time of the emergency repair up until your February 2006 billing, and you used per quarter anywhere from 7,000 to 19,000 gallons a quarter.
Yeah, 53,000. Yeah.
So why would you think that a tight tank would be cost prohibitive? Because it would require pumping, on a monthly basis, let's say, as opposed to a yearly basis, sure. But you would be able to rent it out to whomever you chose with that change of use. And there are single-family homes that don't have 5 tenants providing rent that are supported by and maintain their homes using a tight tank.
Have you ever explored that option?
When the system caved in 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and Peters said that, and we didn't explore it really in detail. We just looked at the potential cost for doing it and the cost on a yearly basis. And honestly.
So let me ask
the
you a
risk has
question,
been done.
and we're cutting off tangent here, but as a landlord and a business person, would not you be able to justify a rent increase if you had not enough?
Because, I mean, we're in North Scituate. It's not Scituate Harbor. And without sewerage, we're limited to I mean, I would not try to put a restaurant in there, even with a tight tank, it would be ridiculous. So we're sort of limited to where we are, to what we can do. The rents are small. That's all we can get. We wouldn't, if you're living on the 3rd floor and I tell you I've got a new tight tank, you're not going to say, oh, charge me an extra $100.
Right.
That's not going to,
So two of the there's 2 requirements for approving a variance, and as you know, I am very strongly against such approval, because it sets a terrible precedent for any other change of use. So with that said, you have 2 requirements in order for them to potentially grant you a variance. 1, you need to prove that it is manifestly unjust to prevent you future use at all of your property. And 2, that the public health and the environment are equally protected under the variance scenario that you request. And under the variance scenario you request, you indicate that you believe your system would fail, and by default, a failure means not protecting public health and the environment. So how would you be able to prove to the board that you have equal, if not better, protection of the environment by not having a Title V inspection done?
okay, well, first, as far as the precedents go, we're really only talking about North Scituate and a tiny bit of law. Everything else is sewage, so it's not an issue.
60% of the town is septic.
But this was a clause for business use change. And it's specific, that's what it says, it's for,
Title V says change in use. It says, and I quote, "A system shall be inspected prior to any change in the type of establishment or increase in design flow." It doesn't,
business, I think, but, okay.
the code is not explicit.
Okay, but I interpreted that to be change in use for business.
I know, but we're talking semantics here, so.
But the point is, I can go out and make spend $1,500 or $2,000 to get a Title V inspection that is probably not going to pass. Then what you're telling me is that I still can't come back because your arguments still hold. You're saying that the only thing I can do is continue to rent it as an office. In that case, there's no change of use. Or,
So let me ask you a question, if Stillwater leaves and this tenant comes in, it's not changing, the office still stays in.
Right, so if Stillwater's changed from retail to retail, that would be fine. It's really the change of the law office that really has put this situation on the table. Yeah, it's already vacant.
They've been empty since spring, and we've tried everything to rent it as an office because it was set up as an office.
And as a food establishment.
Well, she came to you as a food, yes, that's correct.
Yes, and you were fully involved in that process,
Yeah.
because you were in my office several times about it.
Yeah, so what Jen is talking about is originally,
Let me ask you a question quickly. The small area here,
Left.
yeah, the left,
yeah, page 9,
yes.
it's 575 square.
500, that's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
Okay, I just wanted
I mean, I understand the law, and I can't argue with the law, we didn't write it. But that's why they do give you the opportunity for the variance.
that is correct. Well, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No.
I was I just wanted to see where I was originating.
And, you know, all of these things I know really don't matter, but Stillwater's had now 2 sinks that she used because she did a little bit of prepared food.
When is she planning on moving?
Well, October, she has to get permissions, but I think October is the date.
I have no idea what her date is to the other location, and
She's moving across the, or hoping to move across the street.
and she did no prepared foods. All of her food was prepackaged.
Not prepared food, but she had sinks because she served wine and cheese and things, and she washed her dishes and stuff. There were sinks back there that were approved by somebody that was before my time. So we're actually, I mean, that's why
I know, but again,
But if the sinks are there, they're gonna stay there. They're not gonna be pulled out.
no, I don't think they'll be pulled out, but there would be no use for them for a clothing accessory store.
and if I just go ahead and continue this for the next meeting or the meeting after. That should not impact anybody.
It impacts me a bit, only because this woman who wants the space may not take it unless she can have all of it. She may. I can't say for sure.
This is her second shop, you say?
Yes.
And she would take Stillwater, not the empty ones.
Correct. Right now,
I know, but-
Stillwater is not an issue.
I-
That she can have because there's no change of use.
I know, but now that I know.
But she wants the
Well, they can't-
lawyer's office too.
Correct.
The cat's out of the bag there with your septic system. That is the bigger issue here, is that, you know, you could essentially just rent it to her and then rent that as storage, and there would be no difference, you know what I mean? But now that we know that your Title V is 98% unpassable, the greater good of things, I do have an issue with that, and that's why I'm saying I think that we have to continue, you know, and not pass it to next year.
Are you saying that if in fact it fails?
No, I'm saying I want to do some investigation is what I'm saying, and I apologize for not being thoroughly prepared, but I think that I'd like to do a little more without passing judgment one way or the other. Because it is possible that the two of us sitting here without our third member, you know, it would be, I don't know, whatever way Dougie's thinking, you know, it would be a tie or it may not be a tie. So I think having a third person here,
He won't be those, Steve, sorry.
he's going to be in the next one too.
He'll be missing the meeting next time. I don't mean to interrupt, I just want to let
So
you know
where are we
that.
starting today? Or last week?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he just left.
And my dog's on vacation too. So that's what I'm getting at, to be honest with you, is that, you know, I obviously know which way Jen feels.
No,
And I've told the
I
applicant.
know, I don't know which way Dougie's feeling, but I don't think I'm gonna vote on it tonight. I think I'm gonna continue to only the table. And I know that might put you in, that's just gonna have to test you as a salesman. Just to keep her interested. And you, by all means,
Well,
you can blame it on me, that's fine.
No,
But I think it needs further investigating, to be honest with you. That's my true feeling.
I agree.
I don't
mean,
know
I think
what Dougie's thinking, but I understand your dilemma, I really do. I really do. But, you know, your dilemma, that aside, you know, we have an obligation sitting here, Jen has the obligation to make sure that, you know, everything is compliant with what the law says, and what the, you know, the health department says, and what the code says, and all that stuff that goes along with it. So I think before, you know, I say yay or nay, or whichever way I'm leaning, or whichever way Doug is leaning, I think that a continuation is a little bit, is needed, in my opinion, that's my opinion. And, you know, I could do a little more digging investigation and, you know, then maybe reach out to the third member and just see if he's available just to have his thoughts, Jen's put, you know, capable of doing that. He's not on the other side of the plan.
And if you get, so do I get notified that there's
So what will happen?
continuance?
Yes. So Jen will say, you'll send them an email or whatever, right?
Sure, yeah, I can,
Continue it for, and I don't know.
do you want to continue it to the next meeting, or?
What's the date that he's back?
Well, today's the 15th, so what's that,
So it's not until the first meeting in September that he returns.
So the 29th is the next meeting.
So it would not be it would be 2 weeks after that. I mean, we can always schedule, you know, we can always schedule a meeting if it works for the three of you and you. We can always schedule a meeting that first Monday that he returns. Oh, okay, so then it would be, all right, so it would be Wednesday by the time we would be able to schedule it. And at that point, we would be here on Monday.
Harvey Scituate Realty Trust, is it, and excuse me if I'm stepping on that bound, is it you or is it you or?
It's our family.
Okay.
We're going, what's now the surf shop,
Yeah.
that building, and ABC for almost 100 years.
So how do you?
We can't sell it, even if we wanted to. So,
I know, it's a tough situation up there, and that's why I mixed the feelings about it. But I think that the proper thing for me to do is to continue it. And, you know, if Dougie feels the same way, I think that's what we should do.
That's what I would say, just then you have the bias.
I need to, well, and I just want to do a little more investigating, and,
is there anything more that I should do?
no, well, I don't know. It would behoove you to maybe get a quote or two for a tight tank. It would, you know,
I
It
did,
would-
I think I did have one back 2+ years ago, and I just remembered it was so much that I said, if we can't do a repair, let's just get it up. I'll get it, I get it.
are there documents that are there?
Yeah,
The only documentation for the emergency repair includes, which Harvey provided you. There are two things. He provided you the sketch created by Greg Morse, who served as the engineer for that repair. It was completed by Pete Spencer. So the only other documentation that we have is the application that was filled out at the time.
So Greg and Peter are obviously
Yes. Greg, probably not so much. He was called in for this as an emergency.
Sure.
Peter is,
As is Ted Ringler, who actually
that's
did the
right.
work on the
That's right.
system
That's
for,
right.
you know, for Pete. He was
That's
part of
right.
Pete's crew.
yeah, that's correct. And he's on his own.
He's on
this. Yeah, so he.
Okay, so I think that's what we're gonna do, Ari. I'm gonna continue it, and then Jen or Sue, will just let you know what they actually do.
So Harvey, I'll have you give me your best mailing address and phone number so that we can communicate that information to you in the next day or two.
Sure.
That way you have documentation, it's continued.
And if it's possible, and you talk to the third member, and
Which would be me.
Yeah, it has to go.
It has to be me. The two board members cannot speak to each other about a topic, so it would have to be me. So what's your question?
if the third member, the other member, wants to talk to one of them and give them guidance, like you said, and it sheds some
Well,
light.
I will tell you why. Yes, I'm the chairman, and yes, Dougie's been around for a long time. He has more experience than both of us combined. So a hearing his opinion is important to me,
Okay.
and, you know, that's it.
Yep, so I can reach out to him. He has already made himself available to me on, you know, any matters that come up, so as long as there's cell service, you know, I would expect I could hear from him in the next few days.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
If that changes,
Appreciate it.
thanks, just let me know.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, next up, new business, discussion Dana-Farber's mammography van. And I see what's coming to town again, is it all filled up?
It is not yet filled up. The first visit by Dana-Farber went really well. There were several folks, I believe there were 13 women who received mammograms at that event. And there were several women who indicated their interest in it, but did not yet meet the timing requirements. So Eileen Scotty, our public health nurse, and the folks at Dana-Farber have collaborated to bring the van to Scituate again. So we'll be hosting the van on Thursday, September 8th from 8 to 3:30. Just like last time, screening mammograms will be performed by Dana-Farber's mammography technologists and read by board-certified radiologists. The van provides license and certificate of inspection by the Massachusetts Department of Health. Exams are billed to a patient's insurance, and I can speak from experience that making an appointment is really, really easy. So if you want to make an appointment, or if there are any questions about whether you're medically eligible, the folks at Dana-Farber can assist with those questions. They can be reached at 617-632-1974, and any other questions, folks can call our office or call the nurse directly. The nurse's line is 545-8706.
Good.
So I think we have four folks signed up as of today, and plenty of spots still available.
All right.
And the time is?
8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Thursday, September 8th. And the van's going to be located, just like last time, in the Central Park parking lot.
Yep.
Lots of parks there.
All right, next up, other business, administrative invoice approvals. So you have some invoices assigned, meeting minutes approvals. So you've sent us a few, I think.
Yeah. I think there's a name that's
I'm not sure if there are any that don't have Russell's involvement.
Any new business?
Oh, you can't do it without,
No.
okay.
I did read one of them.
Okay.
And any new business you'd like to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Agents.
Yep, we have received some private well applications.
So now you're gonna get
Yes.
Beaches have so far been going smoothly, so we've got 3 weeks to go, and hopeful that that trend will continue.
All right.
Yeah.
Make a motion to go to meeting.
Motion to close the meeting.
All right, all those in favor? Second. All right, done.